all for helping out in the video department today. I will have more Cavs tickets for you later on, about an hour from now, right before the Poundcake sports break. Another one of those is about 60 minutes away as well. Poundcake is rehearsing feverishly, I assume. Is that safe to say? Oh, he's getting a winner.
Yeah.
Never mind me.
But in the breaks, he does.
In the breaks, he
See
does.
his little timer going. And
those of you who like to play the ponies, you might know already a 5-year-old bay gelding horse named Starship Chewbacca won at Santa Anita this weekend.
They're at the top of the stretch. Starship Chewbacca on the outside. Big Sport at the rail. Coming to the 16th pole. It's Starship Chewbacca. Big Sport, tough as nails, comes right back to him. They're head and head for the wire. Starship Chewbacca or Big Sport. Starship Chewbacca earns the W.
Ship is what the guy was saying there. Starship Chewbacca won at Santa Anita. Did your dad ever get into the ponies, or was he just a casino guy?
bro, he was ponies.
Oh, you've told the stories where you were out there. And
Please.
Right.
I was sleeping at Thistledown when I was 9. Don't even. Yeah, he was a huge horse racing guy. He would prefer to go play horses over anything else.
Yeah.
But
It's fun.
It
like
is.
that during quarantine, I got into it. Like,
Did you really?
Well, there was that little time where
You told me. I remember. I was like, be
doing
careful.
all that stuff, and that's why I was like, oh, I could see myself this becoming a problem. So I cut myself off.
Yeah.
Because it's one of those things where I had luck right out of the gate.
That's what'll do
like,
it.
Like my first win was like a $500 or $600 win, and I was like, this isn't hard. And then once you lose some money, you're like, well, maybe it is hard.
This isn't hard.
Yeah. But I did get lucky on that
I
first
found
one.
a system on my very first try.
Now, I never lost like a significant amount of money, and I was playing with like the bonuses that they'd give you, so I didn't lose money. But I was also like, well, I can see myself putting money in here and it going poorly. So I just was like, yeah, I'm not going to keep doing it. But my one buddy, he is really into it.
Oh, yeah.
And he's got the same gambling mentality as you, though.
Oh, yeah. There's some money lost if you never had it. But yeah, he was real into horse racing because horse racing was in Ohio way before casinos were. They've been around. They've been around forever.
I did appearances at Thistledown when I first came to Cleveland. Yeah.
Thistledown in Northfield, which is actually. Did you know this? I don't know if this is an Ohio law or a what am I saying? Countrywide law, like an American
federal law?
Yes. Where you can't have table games and horse racing at the same facility.
Yep, like you can't have booze and full nudity.
Yeah, so that's why Thistledown and Northfield only have slots at those casinos. I didn't know that. I don't know why. That seems like a strange thing to me, but
Gambling laws are largely strange.
it doesn't make any sense.
I think that there's lobbyists involved and things like that, just like anything else.
Yeah, but how would like a blackjack table affect horse racing?
Well, it makes the horses go faster. And
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because they hear the cards getting
Shuffle
shuffled together,
into
and it
sounds.
spooks them.
Yeah.
And they just take off.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it.
Mary. Durr. Got a letter from Melody. Alan, I'm new to the show. Will Poundcake change his name when he gets his own show, like he said?
Yeah, he's just going to cake.
We've talked about that before.
Yeah, probably the cake or
The cake.
PC.
What?
PC culture.
See, again, I'm always a big fan of radio people just using their real names.
Cody.
Yeah, I know you don't like Cody Brown, but
Just Cody.
Well, I would probably just go just Cody because again, Cody Brown.
will
there's
you
no-
call yourself just Cody?
Hey, it's just Cody in the morning. I probably no Cody. Hey, it's Cody, or it's Cody. Mm-hmm. I don't.
I like
It's-
Cody Allen.
It's already taken,
Oh, that's
a country
probably why I
singer.
like it.
Country
Yeah.
singer.
and he's also gay.
And I love gay country singers.
What if you found like radio people who changed their names? Bobby Bones might shock you. Not his real name.
What?
Seems like Robert Esrell or something
Are you
like
going
that.
to tell me Elvis Duran isn't his real name either?
Actually, I think that is his name.
Oh,
No,
really?
his name's
name's
Barry
not-
Cope.
I was like, his name's not Elvis.
No, Barry Cope is Elvis Duran's real
Is it
name.
really?
Yes, and that's a cool name. Like, what's the matter with Barry Cope? I'm Elvis Duran. Yeah. Whatever. Fine. It's a different time, I guess. Well, what if your air name was one of these guys' real names?
That's hilarious.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Like
Show him.
when I was a guy, he went on to do other things. But when I was a kid, we had this guy Bubba the Love Sponge, who was on at night in Chicago, and he went on to do other things, but because he'd get fired every 9 months. But his real name was Todd Clem, and then he legally changed his name to Bubba the Love Sponge, and then I think years later he's like, "Why did I do that?" And he changed it back to Todd Clem. You should find one of these dopey radio names, find out their real name, and that's your air name.
Or I could just go by Carlos Beloza, like I've always wanted to.
Yeah, Carlos Beloza might work too.
I talked about that. Fancy was blown away at how I arrived. He's like, I don't know how your mind works and how you just came up with that.
None of us do. That's why we're so fascinated by
Because
it.
I said, when we were on vacation, I came up with the name. My brother thought it would be fun to come up with an alias or an alter ego when we were on vacation because he wanted me to be straight. I wasn't out yet, but he was like, no, you're going to come up with an alter ego. So then when these girls try to look you up, they can't find you. So I'm like, okay. So my brother's name was Brandon Fitzpatrick. He came up with Brandon Fitzpatrick, and mine was...
Because he looked Irish?
He liked Fitzpatrick for some reason. And mine was Carlos Beloza because I couldn't lie about my initials or my name because it's tattooed on me, so I had to match. So I thought I would really blow him away.
Carlos Beloza.
Yeah, there was a kid from Venezuela. He was a foreign exchange student in my high school, and he went on. He was a super bright guy. He went on to go to MIT, and his last name was
The Medina Institute of Technology?
Yes, that's it. That's the one. And his last name was Beloza, and I was like, okay, so it is it's not necessarily a Hispanic, or it's not necessarily like a Puerto Rican or Mexican last name.
Venezuelan.
It's a Venezuelan last name. So that's really driving it home.
Pride of Caracas.
No one knows that. It's kind of obscure. I never heard about it until it was his last name. And then I'm like, well, Carlos, duh. First C name I think about that's Latino is Carlos. So Carlos Beloza. That's how I came up with it. And I've been Carlos Beloza ever since, even though I'm not Latin. But it fit.
What about downtown Cody Brown? Somebody suggested.
No. And that's the thing. Like, there's no pizzazz. Like, at least Alan Cox, like, it's right to the point. Like, it interests you. Cody Brown,
Well, I just
so
kept
plain.
it. I got made fun of for my name my entire life. So by the time I got into public performing, I didn't care anymore. I just thought if I ever have any measure of success, I'll be very proud that I kept my own name. Hopefully my parents would be proud that I kept my name, blah, blah, blah. That's not important to a lot of people. I understand that.
But the name...
What about Clumpy Fromage?
No. I'm just talking
Poon
about...
Hertzwith?
Poon? What?
Poon Hairswith.
No. As far as branding goes, I think your name's good. Bill's name.
What about
good.
Boomy Fidaster?
I like that. Boomy?
Yeah, Boomy Fidaster.
What you look about Boomy? I like that.
What about Dudley Saturday?
I'll pass.
Tux Flamingo? Barnabas Tahoe?
Barnabas.
Lincoln Sales?
I could do that.
Dusty Green Beans?
Lincoln Bio.
Art Triple Garden?
No.
Florian Casserole?
No. Florian.
Max Payload? Yes, Florian Casserole, but casseroles with a K. That's what makes you stand out. What about Shane French?
I like that name.
See, that's what I'm saying. He's using Rover. You make your air name Shane French. That's a good name.
It's good branding.
Right. Well, it's not. I mean, you know it. Somebody else wouldn't know that you were doing it. You're in some other city. They're not going to know.
Cody Brown, the helpful Brown morning show.
The helpful Brown.
That's
in what way are you helpful?
That is what my name means. Cody means helpful.
In what language?
That is the meaning of the name Cody.
Oh.
That is what my name means. It means helpful, and that always bothered me because I'm like, damn, Cody Brown, helpful Brown. So no wonder these black people think I'm a coon. Like I'm going over to the white people. They're like, oh, you want to be helpful? You just go.
Travis suggested Colonel Slanders. Yeah. So, Melody, I don't know if that answers your question.
Yes.
Welcome to the program, but there you go.
It depends on the station, because don't some stations want you to erase like your name if they don't?
I think
Poundcake's not going to fit if I go to like middle of America.
You're
next
in the
market.
middle.
Smaller market.
How much more middle? Yeah, again, I don't think that people care about the name as much. I still think that's an old-timey thing when management would make them change their name. That was back when they were like, you got to be like Don Geronimo or something like that.
I'll go by Poundcake. I mean, if that means like keeping my name.
The Brown Note with Cody Brown. That's the name of your show.
No.
Oh.
If I get paid more by keeping my name, they're like, well, if you're Cody, you're going to start at a beginning salary.
I don't think that's how it works.
At a beginning.
But if you're Poundcake, all your years of experience, that's how we're going to pay you.
You know that whatever you get paid when you go somewhere, that is your beginning salary.
But he's saying Poundcake is the one with experience. Cody Brown is not.
Poundcake is the
So
branding.
Cody-
That's what we know.
Cody Brown starts at entry level. Poundcake has 7 years experience. So
Yeah,
he
I don't think
gets more
either
money.
one of those is going to make a difference.
Okay.
Like it's
There
two
are people with a
different
lot of
people.
experience aren't making any money.
I just remember that was the whole thing in like the porn industry. Like Brent Corrigan, when he wanted to change his name after he was linked to that scandal, they were like, well, we know Brent Corrigan, and that's what we want. We want that name. But even though you're the same person, we want to put the Brent Corrigan name on our movies. So if you go by Brent Corrigan, we'll pay you more. If you go by another name,
But he's got the same face. What's the difference?
That was what was done. That's what they said.
But why was that their rationale? Why did that make sense to them?
Because it was branding. You weren't. If you change your name,
No, I understand.
That is
The name had equity, and they wanted. I get that.
Yeah.
But what did that have to do with a scandal?
Oh, he had a big scandal around the murder of one of his producers.
The murder of one of his producers.
Yeah, it's all.
And so he
talked
thought,
about-
I'll change my name?
the guy that died owned his name.
Oh, so it's a whole legal thing then.
Well, yeah, it was legal, but he was like, I don't want to be associated with that name anymore. He was like, but this is how you're known. Like, we know Brent Corrigan. We're not going to know the next porn star that you come up with, even though it's you. People are going to type in Brent Corrigan movies, and we want your name to be attached to that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Travis also suggested the name of your show be Brown and Out.
or Brown and Out.
That's what I just said.
Oh, I thought you were saying like, okay, I guess
Like
I
down
misunderstood.
and out?
Yes.
Brown and Out.
Okay.
What about Mike Oxlong? What about Rick?
See, it takes a minute. I get it, but it takes a minute.
Oh, come on. It's fine. You got a lot of time to figure it out. It'll be just fine. What about Rick Diculous?
I like that one.
This is absolutely ridiculous.
You
Man,
said
I
it,
love
lady.
That clip is one of my favorites.
This is absolutely ridiculous.
People, stop this tournament.
This is stupid.
This is stupid. What about Hugo Butt? Bill's
Take
not
it.
using it.
I'm using it. It's my Snapchat.
Are you still on Snapchat?
Bro,
I mean, I
you're
don't-
40. Delete Snapchat.
No, I use
What do you
it
need that for?
to look at boobs.
Oh, my
Leave me
God.
Let him
alone.
look at boobs.
I still don't. I have never revived
I don't
my
post
Snapchat.
anything there, but people send me stuff, and I appreciate it
Why do they do it over Snapchat?
because that's where they
To
do it. I don't know.
disappear.
It doesn't.
Cody, you
it-
know why they
Nothing
do it
ever
there.
disappears. Once you send it, it's out.
Hey,
And
to
why do you
them,
want
they think it disappears. So let them think that.
Oh,
My
God.
God, people are so dumb. Like
And why would you want boobs to disappear?
No, that's
I
what
don't.
it is.
the false sense of security that these girls think, like, oh, I'm just gonna send it over Snapchat. There's not apps or anything that people can like screen record and not. Get
I
a
don't do any
notification.
of that. I'm not a skis ball.
No, but that's how Snapchat sold itself to people.
Nothing
is
ever-
they go away in 24 hours, right? That was the hook, and then everybody was like, "Oh,
Well,
it's not.
That's
That's
when
not
you
what
open
On
it.
the
happened."
story, when you snap someone directly, it goes away in 10 seconds. It's only available for. That's why it's so popular for news. I send it to you.
Well, then
it's
how
up
you
for
keep
10
it?
seconds.
Then how's
and
he
it goes
keeping
away.
the boobs?
He doesn't keep
I
the
know,
boobs,
I
is
get
what
new
he's
ones.
saying.
But there are apps where because
Giggle.
What?
You're so
What
gross.
are you?
I get boobs.
if
He
everyone
likes breasts. What's the matter with
Why is
boobs?
that so upsetting to
It's
you?
not upsetting. You just sound like such a boy, like
Well, I
a
am.
little, like a little 16-year-old boy. Like
That's how they make me feel.
I'd like to look
It
at
keeps-
boobs.
It keeps me young.
So stupid.
I enjoy them.
Do all men feel that way?
Yes.
That we
About
like
boobs?
boobs?
Would you
Boobs
know
just
that?
make you genuinely happy.
There's something primal about it. But I was breastfed when I was a kid. I don't know if that's got anything to do with it, but women are great.
I get it. It's
all
just
great.
So he started to get like giggly and like
Because I'm thinking of some of the boobs that have been sent.
Question,
I'm like,
Bill.
This is wonderful.
silly.
Have you seen more boobs in person than over
No
means of internet?
No
Or-
way.
listen.
Wait.
Or have you seen more boobs in person than through any type of device? Because I have seen more boobs in person than I have ever seen on.
You
No, I've
don't
seen
watch
way more
straight porn.
And you're not looking
Yeah.
for them. People aren't sending
but
them
like
to you.
even
Take porn out of it. I'm talking about someone sending. Have you seen more boobs in person than someone sending them to you?
Like I've had more boobs sent to me than I've seen in person.
Okay.
Is that what you're trying to
That's
say?
me.
Because there's been-
B-double-O-B, boob.
I've seen more boobs in person than no one has ever sent me boobies.
You're not a straight man.
No, but also you have access to. Everyone now has access to way more on their phone than they could ever see in real life. So
Yeah.
just
Right, but he's talking
He's
about
saying
like
take porn
someone
away.
actually, people have actually sent me more. Like I've been sent boobs.
oh, I see what
Yes.
you mean.
Yes, I'm
No, I'm
meaning
not talking
sent
about
to a
to you.
person.
Yeah.
I've seen way more D in real life than has ever been sent to me.
I always think of that Chris D'Elia video where he finds out
Are
that
you sure?
Snapchat doesn't go away.
Oh yeah.
Where he's sitting there
Yeah,
talking.
it's,
Is
How
does
it
he not
Callan
know
or somebody
that?
else? Because that's how it was sold to people for a while, and that information was not disseminated very well. That kind of trickled through when people were like, "Oh, they don't."
But people should know that it's
Well,
the
if you're
internet.
behaving yourself, and I know that sounds naive, but that really is the best way to go about things online.
But there's nothing, even if it does disappear, it's in a huge database somewhere. The police can retrieve it if they need it. Like, when has that ever stopped? Hey, I have a lock on my door. No one can ever enter. The police can get into your door. The FBI can get into your door if they need to. That's ridiculous.
Probable cause. They need that PC, that pound cake. Do you send Brian boob shots midday?
Sometimes. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That probably brightens his day immeasurably.
Boobs, but yeah.
That's
whatever.
what we're saying, right?
It's just
How is that any different than these random hoes that are sending
no,
builder
it's not
checks?
about random hoes. It was just the way that he like giggled about it. It was like
It makes me happy.
it was just a strange thing to hear from a 40-year-old man. Was a
It never goes away. When he's
so
75,
silly.
he'll
It's
be
so
just
silly.
as happy as he should be. Why should that go away, by the way? Why would appreciation of the female form, why would that ever diminish?
It's not about appreciation. It's the fact that he just sounded like a teenage boy.
Yes.
The way that he's like, "Now get some more boobs."
Yes.
Like, it's just a silly. It was a silly
Just
way.
nice.
It's
I
a
like seeing the
lifelong
boobs.
vocation.
Boobs.
Yeah.
If you woke up with boobs tomorrow, like female boobs,
I did.
female boobs, would you play with them?
Of course.
If what?
If you woke up with a woman's chest,
Yeah,
like
sure.
a full
Yeah, of
C
course,
cup, we'd be
yes,
sitting there
yeah.
like, "Diggy, diggy, diggy, diggy."
Of course. Yeah.
I
You think
might
you
do
would get
that.
the same enjoyment out of them? You wouldn't. It
No.
would go away, yeah.
They're way more fun if they're attached to another person.
Got
yeah.
it.
Did you watch any Mardi Gras stuff on YouTube? Lots of boobs there.
No. I've
It was just
again,
yesterday.
It's like that.
He
that
likes
kind
the
of
boobs
stuff.
that are sent specifically
Yeah, I like
to him.
boobs meant for me.
The fact that people
That
bare
makes
their
it-
chest for some beads. Have you no couth?
No, you
For
you
Mardi
flash
Gras?
'em out.
You've done that?
They're like school marms doing that. It's just part of the whole thing. It's but you
Silly.
when in Rome, you give yourself over to the carnival.
My sister's 21st birthday, we were out on West 6. We had already been thrown out of like 3 different bars. And I forget which one we were at, and she's so drunk. She looks over at me, she goes, "I want to flash this bar." I said, "Do it." And she just stood up on the bar and pulled her boobs out. People started cheering and shouting. I was like, "Happy birthday." There you go.
She got good boobs too.
Yeah,
so-
she was just like, "I'm flash this bar." I'm like, go for it.
love that. So free.
Because when you do that, people lose their minds. People go wild. They're
It's
like,
a very kind thing to do.
I know.
It's very appreciated, and I feel like in the days of
It's harmless. It's not like, you know what I
camera
mean?
phones and stuff like that, now that it's high quality, you don't have nearly as much flashing as was happening in
Like the 90s and 2000s.
yeah, 90s
Yeah,
and early 2000s was like prime time boob flashing.
yeah, because it was harmless and silly, and oh, here's my boobs.
It
ha, ha,
wouldn't
ha.
And it
haunt
got
you
you
for
a
the rest
lot
of
of
your life.
attention.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it's not gonna. not that a boob picture would haunt you for the rest of your
But
life.
people would take
but
that like, oh, you whore. Like, if that made the rounds on the internet, like, you tag your friend in that, like, oh, April had a great, 35th birthday. And they're like, slut.
Yeah.
People
There's
have
that-
no chill.
It's one of those websites that was like revenge porn or something like that. It was gross. But the only reason I ever went to it is because one of my comedian friends was in the background of this girl flashing her boobs. And when I met him, he's like, hey, check out this website. And I was like, okay, why am I looking at this girl's boobs right now? He's like, look closer.
Didn't even
And then-
notice him.
And then he's just like...
he's like drinking.
he's just totally like wasted just in the background going, oh.
Right.
And it's now... Like, I have it burned into my head where I can't remember what the boobs look like, but I remember his dumb face.
Right.
It's so funny, though.
I've got the perfect air name for you, Poundcake. It's going to sound a little weird, but you can sell it. Your name would be What Dat? What Dat? Mouth Do.
What that mouth do middays.
Yeah.
All right, I got a break.
What that mouth do tells you the news.
Now
tells
the
you what's
news, the
happening,
weather, and sports.
all the dirt.
If you want to text for something, 35192. If you listen to the show on iHeartRadio, you can leave us a message there with the talkback button. And we'll be back after this.
The Alan Cox Show.
On 100.7 double.